Hey guys, that was for you, Lewis. Welcome back. Oh no, that was Seth. Sorry, Seth. I am here. We're doing another lunchtime live stream, and actually, I'm not alone. I'm practicing social distancing, but
That's
from a
right.
really long distance.
That's
Because how
right.
many miles are you away?
I don't know, 1,000. But
Oh
anyway,
yeah,
hey
1,000.
guys, welcome back, and we're here. We got a pretty good discussion here, right? We're gonna show some really cool stuff, right?
Yeah.
You,
We're gonna
you,
we're gonna actually show the hardware that you need to run Silver Strike Bowling. Actually, straight out of an arcade, actually. So it's pretty cool.
all right.
Um,
You want to
what
jump right into it?
Yeah, we'll jump right in because we have limited time. But the one thing that was interesting is that when you and I were at CES, that Silver Strike bowling cabinet, people were pretty excited and amped up about it, and we were there on day one.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, like the cabinet was gone. Now I don't
We're,
remember if we noticed it being missing that day or not, but it was poof gone, and we
yeah.
never really got a lot of answers on that.
We're like, hey, where did it go?
I know, right? It was weird, but I was super pumped up. And the thing is, it was a shell of a cabinet, though. It was basically just, or not a shell, but it was just a skinned cabinet. It
I don't
didn't have
even think
any.
it was. It wasn't even turned on.
No, it was turned on. It
What?
had golden
Sure?
teeth. Yeah, I went back and looked at the video. It had
Oh, maybe
golden
they.
teeth.
I think they turned it off later, is what I'm thinking, because then people. My thinking is people kept on coming up and saying, "I want to play Silver Strike." They're like, "Oh, it's not even on," and they turned it off because I
Yeah.
remember it being off.
Yeah.
And then they pulled it. But if you guys don't know, a couple weeks ago, Ralph did an entire video of how to build one from scratch. Essentially, how to convert. What would you call it? It's basically a mod to build your own
I
Silver
did,
Strike.
but the thing is that I didn't go into the details because some of it's not what I'm going to show you today. So what I'm going to show you today is a legit setup straight out of an arcade. The one I did, there's a little bit of
It was a little
gray
illegit.
area in there. Yeah, there's a little bit of gray area in there.
All right, you want to show it?
Yeah, let's show it. So,
All right.
so this is the table cam right now, and what you're looking at is actually this is pulled from a working Silver Strike machine. So down here below, I'll start here first. I'll actually remove these two pieces, and I'll start with the base of it. Oh, the base of it is actually the PC that runs everything. They call this system the Nighthawk. I don't know why, but I guess they needed a fun name for it, so they called it the Nighthawk. So. But I mean, essentially, it's just a PC. There's nothing really that interesting in it, but the software is written to be able to basically look for this particular graphics card. So it does do some hardware checking to make sure that what it is actually connected to is what you see here on the table. So it's kind of interesting. And then from the front, it actually looks just like a regular PC. It doesn't look that much different, except it's in this like kind of cool little case here. You got the Silver Strike Bowling logo here. And then I know you can't see it, but there's a product information right here as far as like the product number. What Incredible Technologies does is they actually mark all of these. They serialize all of them. They know where they are in the field at all times, and that's why there's that website that I shared. I'll have a link in the description to it. I don't have it in there right now. There's a website I shared that Incredible Technologies manages where they actually tell you where every Silver Strike bowling cabinet is that's actually in operation in the field right now, which is pretty cool. So, but Justin, this isn't all you need. It's not just this PC. So there's more to it than just that. And I'll get to that in a second. But any questions on that so far? I mean, it's kind of this industrialized case that they put really just a standard PC in. There's nothing all that, kind of innovative there.
Right. So this is managed by the company, and I think they do really well. They've been around for a long time. And
They do incredibly well.
Own the market that they created. It's pretty sweet. So,
and the reason why I'm showing you this is that this is just one part. This part right here isn't what really is the difficult part. It's because this is mostly a PC. It's got the game. The game I didn't actually show it. Let me take the cover off real quick. But there's a little hard drive you'll notice in there. Some people have converted these to SSDs, but there's a little hard drive that you can't see. It's right here on this, mounted on the side. That actually has the game. The game is running off that hard drive.
Right. Maybe keep it open. Like, what makes it special that's not a computer? Like you said, there's some mods where you take out the hard drive, put an SSD in it. That would probably make it so the read times are a lot faster. Maybe the load times for the different games load pretty quick. Or maybe they're just trying to upgrade it so that they have failing hardware. How does that work?
So they've standardized on the hardware for a reason. So this hardware can actually run all the way up to the more current version of Silver Strike. So they've kind of standardized on a set of hardware. I think in the Silver Strike, the bigger machine, they may have upgraded. I'm trying to think if they upgraded the video card or not. I'd have to double check that. But they tried to keep a standard build so that machines could be upgraded in the field potentially if you needed to. Like, oh, hey, we're going to reskin this machine and have it as a, the next version of Golden Tee. We'll swap out the marquees and stuff like that. So kind of interesting. But the thing that this does that's unique is it looks for two things when it boots up. It looks for this. So if you want to go back to that table cam, Justin, it looks for this. This is the I/O board. So I'll see if I can get that a little.
Now this is unique to IT, right?
Yeah. This is something they designed. I mean, they didn't design the Jama standard,
sure,
but they did actually design this board. This is theirs. You can see their actual logo is in the PCB. But this is something that they designed. So there's a security chip on here,
right?
This security chip actually. Works together with another piece of hardware, which is this guy right here, and this is your cabinet ID. So when this thing boots up, it looks for the I/O board and it looks for the cabinet ID. The cabinet ID identifies like, hey, are you a Silver Strike? Because that's what I'm booting up. I'm Silver Strike. Are you a Silver Strike? And it'll say yes, I am, and it'll cross-reference that with the cabinet ID. Now the it's interesting. If this is missing, it won't boot. It'll boot up to a point and it says, hey, there's no I/O board. Sorry, can't boot. Right. If this is missing, it'll say there's no security chip. Not security chip. There's no cabinet ID. It won't boot. The security chip is this guy right. I think it's this guy right here. I can't remember which one it is. It's either this one or this one. I can't remember. It's one of these two. But so yeah. So the thing is, so why you haven't seen this emulated is that the MAME community, as you know this, Justin, right? They're like Joe Schmoes off the street that are doing it, right? It's the MAME community is basically a bunch of people. Now there's commercial emulation like you've talked about before, but the majority of people doing this, they're doing it as a hobby. So they look at this and go, dude, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Maybe not to say that this is impossible to emulate, but there's a lot of proprietary stuff in here.
That's right.
That may make it more difficult. So no one's gone and tackled it.
Right. And there's another piece to it. We've talked about this before, but never on our shows. But I spent about 8 years working in anti-piracy. This is literally what I did was to reverse engineer the piracy devices that were being used for piracy. And so when we would do research and understand, like, okay, what's vulnerable, right? Like what's vulnerable to some type of piracy attack. And one of the things a lot of people don't know about is it commercially viable to be monetized on? And so that's what you want to get when you're protecting your content, when you're protecting your device. You want to get to the point where there's enough effort that has to be made that it's not worth the payoff. And I think Incredible Technologies may have that. And the reason is everyone knows they're selling their cabinets. They make a lot of money, which means they could afford lawyers.
And they're in thousands of bars and restaurants across America, making money on even older versions of their games still.
Right. And here's the key piece. Everyone's probably like, you don't know what you're talking about, Justin, but here's the key piece. If I were to build a clone device, would it be worth it for me to sell that? And would I make enough money for the risk? And certain forms of piracy, that risk is worth it. And that's why you see it in the market. In other areas, it's not, and that's why it doesn't exist.
And I've heard, Justin, that that Incredible Technologies has like a ridiculous set of lawyers that are they pounce on this stuff, and that's why I got beat up a little bit when I made that video, because people are like, well, "Why didn't you show the details?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't because for you guys on the stream, basically what is happening in that build is that there's actually 5 game drives which have all the different versions of the games. However, it's got one cabinet chip, so cabinet ID. So that's actually there are details behind that, but it is skirting around some security issues. So it's mimicking going, oh yeah, I'm good. Like this chip is just a returning. Okay, that's what I expect to see. I'm good, even though hey, you're PowerPut, but your cabinet ID is not PowerPut's ID. We're cool, and it boots the game. So it's skirting around that issue. So Rexer Show said, how are you lucky enough to get all the pieces together? When I searched originally, it was hard to find anybody that sells them in full. Rexer, thanks for joining, man. Good buddy. It's not that often that you get people selling it together, to be honest. So I was lucky enough to find someone on OfferUp, and I pounced on it right away. Now the interesting thing is something that I didn't know. So I was curious if these I/O boards are interchangeable. Like, let's say I bought the pieces parts. Like, let's say I have the right cabinet ID, but my I/O board is different. Not different in the sense that maybe it's a different version. So I have two different IO boards. I plugged my other IO board into this, and it actually updated the IO board, which I thought was interesting. And then when I plugged it back, I actually shouldn't have done this. This is one of those things where I'm like, oh crap, if it updated it, is it now not going to work on my other one?
Right.
And when I plugged it back in, it saw that something changed and changed it back.
Mm.
That was pretty cool. Like it went, hey, something's different. I'm going to flash it back for your setup you have here. So at least that's kind of neat that they maybe made these somewhat. I wouldn't advise you do that, by the way,
Right.
because I didn't really know what I was doing. I just kind of messed with it. I'm learning this hardware. By no means am I an expert in this hardware. I just know that if you put the right parts together, it will actually work. And these are the right parts. This came out of a working machine. Now, piecing it together might be a little bit more difficult, but
we have a good question here from Chef Dave. He says, so Silver Strike is awesome, but seems very secured. There isn't a compatible game to this? Like something legitimately
comparable.
Equal? Yeah.
Actually with Rexer being in there, he might be a good person. I mean, Capcom Bowling's fun, but I would argue it's not even close to this. I haven't seen one that I view as being an equivalent. But the cool thing is, so like the light at the end of the tunnel for this, where I think 1UP will go. Actually, Rexer and I have talked a lot about this, and we got a chance to meet him at CS, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But we had talked about this. So there's an Android version of Golden Tee Golf, and it's pretty good. Like the Golden Tee Golf Android version is pretty good. It's not 100% one for one, but it's pretty good. Now, in my mind, I haven't seen them port any of their other games to Android or iPhone, but they did with Golden Tee. So if they could do that, like port Silver Strike Bowling to Android, then I think it'd be an easy one for Arcade1up to do, because I think their hardware, they'd have to dial it down maybe a little bit, but I think they could pull that off in their hardware. It's just a matter of like, we haven't heard anything.
Zohar's got it right. Wii Sports.
Oh, actually, yeah, that's true. Wii Sports is pretty good. It's so actually, now, damn it. Now you know that I'm going to go make a Wii Sports bowling cap.
wait, how would you wire that up, right? Because like
you don't have to wire it up. You don't have to. You just use the Wiimote.
No. But imagine if you could make it where you're bowling,
like rolling a ball,
a ball with.
Yeah,
I don't crack it. Let's figure it out.
I mean, you could do anything if you have
turn that into
money,
an arcade. Right? I love that. Do you remember that Wii bowling? And it was like, okay, you're doing 10 pins, and then 25, and then 50, and then 100.
Yeah,
Wii bowling was so much fun.
Wii bowling was really fun. I think that whole idea we were talking about. Weren't you and I talking about this on a phone call the other day about how?
Yeah, we were talking about how. And this is changing the subject. Should we go here? But like the Wii, let's go back. It was really good console with some really good games on it.
It was. It was a very like. It made people interact with games that I think like didn't really care about video games, because I remember having people over the house and they'd be like, oh, let's play Wii Sports. And you're like, what? Like it was when the kids were little, like my kids were little, and everyone else would bring their kids over. And now we're all playing like Wii Sports together. It was the same thing with
But mom and dad were playing too, right?
Yeah. Oh no, we were all in it. Like we were actually pushing the kids out of the way. That's right. What was funny. We're like, it's my turn.
And for hours too. Like I would get tired after an hour, but then all the rest of the family is still like, let's keep going. It was like, we need to eat, right? We're gonna do dinner. So James is saying the Dolphin emulator Wiimotes as mouse. So think about that. If that's true, then there's I wonder if we could play with the sensitivity of a USB trackball that acts as a mouse and wire that into the Dolphin emulator and actually play Wii bowling on a Silver Strike Arcade1up cabinet. That's an interesting thought.
So this one came out not that long ago. The game he's referencing, PBA Pro Bowling video game. It looks really good, actually.
You want to share your screen?
Yeah, I'm not like a huge. It's not like I go out. Golden Tee was something that was introduced to me. I'm burpy again, man.
Here we are again.
If burping is a sign of COVID-19, then I definitely have it. But I don't know what's up with my burping situation lately. But yeah, I'll share screen real quick. It looks pretty cool. The thing is, like, I was introduced to bowling games because of just being in a bar, like being in a bar and playing playing Golden Tee. That was just, or not Golden Tee, but Silver Strike. But I mean, the graphics look really good.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's just a preview screen or not, but
yeah, that
almost looks like that almost looks real. I mean, look, they even got him tatted up and everything. Is that Rexer? Did Rexer have tats? I don't remember. I feel like Rexer would have I don't know why. I just remember visually. I think he had like arm tattoos, right? Or am I totally wrong? I don't know. Rexer, you got any tattoos?
I don't know. I wasn't looking at.
I was
his
checking
arms.
you out a lot, Rexer. Did you have tattoos? Actually, this looks pretty awesome.
He says no tats. So,
Come on, man. This looks pretty good, actually. Now I want to play this. What?
What system is this on? PBA.
Oh, it's by Farsight Studios. Oh, interesting.
Oh, there you go.
Huh. Oh, it looks pretty cool. I think it's on PS4 and probably.
Yeah, man.
Oh, it's on PS4, Switch, Xbox, PS4, Switch, Xbox One, and Steam.
Yeah,
maybe it could be a good idea to like review it and kind of check it out because it looks pretty neat.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I'm impressed.
Yeah,
the
thanks
really
for
awesome.
sharing that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, the graphics are killer. All right, well, Ralph has the spicy cough. What?
I don't know.
Oh, what, like spicy food? Oh, I don't know. I didn't eat anything spicy. Oh, actually, I did. I had eggs and I put some. For some reason, dude, you know what's funny? I was like, this isn't. I know we're not talking about the topic, but you know, everyone's going to the market and buying everything. The other day, I was in the store with Kim, and I'm like, dude, does everyone like when they're in quarantine just want to eat like omelets all the time? Like, what's up with all the eggs? Like, seriously, like we can have omelets for the rest of our lives? Like, what? And eggs do go bad after a while, but I don't get it. I think it was funny because like when we would live through things like hurricanes back east, you'd buy bread and water and like eggs and milk, but like I don't know why. I don't even really remember having hurricanes and my mom being like, "All right, it's day 5 of no electricity. Let's make some omelets." Like I don't know. But anyways.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So thank you so much, Zohar, for the super chat. Here we are. I wanted to be the first super chat of the day. Well, you met your goal, man. That's well appreciated. You know, speaking of going to stores, I'm going to throw this on Ralph. It's what you want to go back to Silver Strike, the table cam?
I just wanted to just do a quick summary of the hardware for those that are just joining, and then we'll. Yeah, so for those of you just joining, what we were checking out was, you know, is it going to be possible for Arcade1up to do, you know, a Silver Strike bowling? And the reason why I wanted to bring attention to this, actually, I've become after CES pretty good friends with Rexer Show, and him and I talk a lot about this stuff because he was a big Silver Strike fan. So like, you know, we had talked about it a lot at the show and then after, but yeah, one of the reasons why I don't think it's going to be possible or it's going to be challenging is because there's a lot of proprietary hardware that you need. Like for one, you need this Jama IO board, which this Jama isn't necessarily anything that they've created. That's a standard, but they created this specific IO board, which has a security chip. And then you have this other chip, which is your cabinet ID. So I think with all of this proprietary hardware, that's why you haven't seen, you know, at least these two pieces. That's why you haven't seen, you know, the MAME community pick it up. Now, could a commercial company like Code Mystics pick it up and figure it out? Maybe, but I think what'll probably end up happening is they'll port it to Android like they did with Golden Tee, and that's what they'll offer if they even do it. Because we haven't heard anything from them since, as far as this, when we made references to this, I haven't heard them talk about it at all. So I'm assuming that this is probably still an in development potential, but we also have other things to worry about, like will they be able to even deliver on the timelines based on what's going on in the world? I don't know. That might be a challenge. We haven't talked about that, Justin. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about that on Sunday. But that, you know, what's going on in the world as far as, you know, from a health concern, it is, you know, causing impact to manufacturing and production and stuff. So we may, you know, they may change course a bit to revolve around dates and things like that as well. So,
yeah, I think we'll talk about that more, but obviously we can probably expect some of that, and we'll be, you know, keeping a close eye on it, and hopefully get a good communication with the different companies that we've been covering, and being able to be a voice for that. What's Rexter saying?
So to Justin's point, bars and customers still make money on all versions of Silver Strike. So the MAME team doesn't want to piss off IT. I'm sure that has a huge part of it, and they hold their IP close to the chest for a reason. I mean, it's not very often that. I mean, think about it. Think about a platform. Think about a gaming platform or an arcade game that hasn't been emulated. There's like almost none. It's like all of them have been.
Right.
But Incredible Technologies, anything modern from them, you know, post Golden Tee Complete has been untouched. And I think there's a reason for that. For one, I think anybody that does it, the lawyers go after them right away. And so it scares people off. And I also think it's a bit complex.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, great points.
Yep. Very true. So I will say, I've been having a lot of fun talking about these discussions with you. But where's your cab? Like, where did you put in storage already? What's going on?
The Golden Tee one?
Yeah.
Oh no, it's actually on the other side. So this room is full, and the downstairs is full. So I mean, it's not full. I could probably squeeze one more or two more in here, but because you guys don't ever see this wall. This
Mhm.
wall has a storage area with a little bit of like console stuff, and then it has the At Games Legends Ultimate, which takes up a lot of room. But I like the footprint of it. But yeah, the Golden Tee's actually upstairs, and I have like a little loft area. It's up there because I try to play it a lot. I keep it on actually up in the loft, and I kind of play it as I walk by. It's funny, like right now it's on with like there's just a golfer standing there. Like if it was Sonic, he'd be like tapping his foot, like you've been gone for like a week. So I keep it up running in there, which probably isn't good, but good for it. But I keep it up there running. But actually, it's probably fine.
Yeah.
I literally liquid cooled the CPU because the one
Oh,
thing that is these are notorious for, these things are notorious for having heat issues. So they put kind of like these really kind of crappy fans on this CPU. So you will notice if you go into a bar sometimes, take a look. In the top right corner, you may see something that says like, I can't remember maybe Rexer can remember the exact note, but it has a notification around being too hot. It happens all the time with these. So I liquid cooled it and I was like, screw it. It's not going to get hot now. And it doesn't. It never has a heat warning because I liquid cooled it. But that's way over the top. Didn't need to, but it does help.
yeah.
So if you do pick one of these up used, it's very common to turn this on and get a heat warning. It will happen. It does most of the time. So you'll probably end up just having to upgrade the fan to something a little bit better. Just a little tip there if you end up picking up one of these.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then, of course, because this is not a one-up weekly show, behind you, you do not have Back to the Future on your vertical cab because that only is for special shows, right?
I know. I still need to do a video of the Rec Room Masters Junior. Actually,
Oh,
sorry,
yeah.
there's a light in the back.
We'll have to talk about that more because we've been talking about that and I've been keeping an eye on that. We were going to talk about what are all the different options, like these days, we are seeing different companies build these mods,
so many options,
different cabinets, I should say. And a lot of people are jumping on the Arcade1up, and that's really cool. But we do want to surface up some of these other options because different people may be interested in the different options based on their circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, someone mentioned this. Yeah, it is left on for 18 hours. I just mean it's not necessarily good for me to leave it on in my own house for that long.
Right.
So, I mean, I literally never shut it off. So, whatever. I mean, I guess I never shut off my PC that I have under my desk for this show and everything. I mean, it stays on all the time. So, I guess it's all good.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, not much. I guess there's some people that are talking about the burger time. I guess as we end the show, I mean, obviously this is about Silver Strike and stuff, but if you want to talk about a little bit before because I think we got to end the show in about 10 minutes or so, but we can talk about, or 5 minutes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about random news stuff. I mean, today At Games delivered firmware update that provided light gun support. So you guys know, if you watch the channel, I have a whole playlist on light guns. I've been covering them for a while. I love light gun technology. They didn't deliver anything new, but I think they're trying to take the technology. They're basically using the same technologies you have right now, the IR sensor and a gun. And, so it tracks on an LCD. But they've kind of tried to make it a little bit more user friendly. I have not tried it yet, so I'll give it a shot. I have like 3 or 4 different light guns that I can try. I have different IR sensors I can try. I would be willing to bet if it's just using the technology that it probably would work with a Wiimote too. I don't see why it wouldn't. It probably will. So I'll check that out. Try a Wiimote. Try different things. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Justin and I have talked about doing an episode, maybe we do it this Sunday, where we talk about like all the options for someone doing home arcade gaming, because like literally Justin and I have talked on the phone for 2+ hours about multicades. Like, what's the value of a multicade, a cabinet that literally does everything. I want it to do everything. I want it to be my gun cab, my driving cab,
right,
my my everything, right, my everything, gaming genre or type of game you could think of. And so, but there's drawbacks to that too. Then there's the customer that just goes, hey, I bought a 1UP, it has 4 games, I love it. I mean, there are people that meet different criteria. Some people get really overwhelmed by, oh, this thing has 10,000 games, by the way. And the person will scroll through forever and go, I don't even know what I want to play. There's so many. And that's a real reality to a
Right.
multicade. So I think it'll be a good that might be a fun conversation for this Sunday, actually.
Yeah, I think like to what you're talking about when you get tons of games like that, um, that's a scenario where a really good front end is really worth it. I mean that's what I do all day, right? For a living, is I build UIs for in the last couple of years as Disney, Stars, and before that Dish Network, and we're talking about people that have tons and tons of content, tons of options. In this case, it's always movies, right? Movies and TV series. How do you organize them in such a way where that's not overwhelming? So think about it, right? Remember back in the late 90s, you would say, people would say, I have 5,000 channels, right? And these were just cable channels because you would channel surf, right? Channel
Dude, I remember
surfing.
being so overwhelmed by that.
Right. So there you go. It's a bad UI. And as the technology evolved, we started doing thumbnails. We started showing the movie art.
Recommendations.
Yeah, recommendations. So Netflix did a lot of driving of the market for this. Amazon, streaming services, and a lot of, Sling, which is owned by Dish Network, started bringing all that technology in. Of course, Disney Plus is gigantic now in the United States. And the same thing, if you look at those designs, they know how to deliver 10,000 pieces of content to you and not overwhelm you, or at least try to. It's hero carousels, shelves that you can slide through. They really know how to control the market. They really own the market with UI design. And video game consoles, I think, have some catching up to do. Arcade1up, At Games, all the various UIs that are designed for us for picking video games.
Yeah.
You got your coin ops, you got these different Raspberry Pi, Retro Pis. They're all trying to do that same thing. How do you display content and categorize them and not overwhelm the user and make it a good experience?
Yeah.
And to your point, when someone says, yeah, I got a Raspberry Pi, and the first thing I hate is there's so many games to choose from, it's because it's a bad UI.
Yeah.
It's not because there's 20,000 games.
Well, and here's the thing. There's like 100 different versions of that UI, right? Because it's
Right.
Again, that's a community created thing. So someone goes, I want it to look like this. Cool. You have full flexibility to do that. And then someone comes out with their own image and uploads it to Arcade Punks, and there it is. So like the funny thing about RetroPie that I think, or pies in general that are funny, and RetroPie, is that you'll have like it's almost like endless how many different ways you can swivel, kind of cut it up. But at the end of the day, it's all still the same. It's just like how you want it to visually be represented. So
that's right.
Yep. Oh, someone asked, did you have anything about the Jama Harness on the Silver Strike for your viewers to understand how trackball and buttons hook up to the I/O board? I could do that really quick.
Do it.
Yeah. So, Justin, if you want to pull up the thing really quick. So, yeah. So for the trackball, shoot. Can I go get it really quick? Do you care? I have pajama pants on, by the way, guys, so that's pretty awesome.
No, those are your plaid pants, right?
Yeah, these are my plaid pants.
So what are you gonna go get?
Pants. I was gonna just go get a trackball real quick.
Okay, go grab a trackball.
All
right, so stick around, everybody, because Ralph is coming right back. He's getting a trackball, and I think Zohar had a super chat. Thank you so much, Zohar, for the super chat. It says, "Please give me a 1 minute heads up before you end." I think we're going to try to lock this down to just 30 minutes. Both of us are on our lunch break right now from work, working from home. So we got about 3 minutes left. And here's Ralph.
Okay, you're gonna love this.
Yeah.
All right, so put it back to the table cam for a minute. All right, guys. So we just have to sit here for another couple minutes, and we'll get this thing all wired up. So that's the working harness off of a Golden Tee. It looks pretty stressful, but basically how you do it is, yeah, I can't go through this right now, but this is the harness right here. And basically you have a connection that goes from, so this is the trackball. This is a crappy trackball, by the way. This is not a HAP trackball. It's some crappy replacement that someone put in this cabinet. So whoever put this replacement in this bar went from HAP to this thing. It's not a very good trackball, but basically there's a little wire that plugs in right here, and the other end of that harness goes into this guy, and that's how you hook it up, basically. So it's plug and play in the sense that it's looking for it on that port. When it finds it, it will just work. And then in the software, you can do the sensitivity settings. Now, all of this stuff is the Jama harness that came out of the working system. It's in a ball of mess right now, but I will find, let's see if I can find the edge connector. Yeah, so see, there's your Jama edge. There's your Jama edge right there.
Yeah.
If I unwound this, it would be pretty easy for me to explain it to you, but right now it was all kind of rat's nest, so I didn't want to go into that right now. But yeah, no, it looks a little overwhelming. It's really not. There's a great manual for this. It tells you what each one of these buttons do. The cool thing about buying this out of a working one is this literally is all labeled. So every button on here is already labeled. So and actually the micro switches, he left the micro switches on it. So this, you could literally just wire, build your control panel with all the right, holes cut out for your buttons and just put this right in. So this would be an ideal way to buy this. I just got lucky. This guy sent me everything. He even sent me the marquee. So I just got really lucky on this one. This doesn't happen very often.
All right, that's really awesome. I think we got to wrap up the show here, if you don't mind. So Ralph, we got one more. Shane Day, I'm going to throw this out here. Shane Day mentioned he has an Arcade1up model he'd love to share. Can I get you to share it on your show? And so Ralph and I have been talking about this for a while. And Ralph, want to tell people about your Facebook group that you have? Because what we were talking about doing is on the 1UP Weekly show, you could, if you go onto Facebook and post your, one option is to post your arcade mod on Ralph's group, and then say you're more than welcome to show this on the 1UP Weekly show, and that would be something that we would do. We would have a segment where we go through a handful of really cool mods that we saw, where people have given us permission to share.
Yeah, so definitely go join Home Arcade Modders and Enthusiasts. I don't advertise that this is mine or anything. Like, I actually really love that the community has sort of, gosh, the burping is out of control. The community has like really kind of picked this up and ran with it.
You might say it's community-led group.
It is very much a community-led group. I mean, I chime in from time to time. I say certain things when I have the time to, but the cool thing is the community is pretty much runs it and owns it, which is really cool. And I feel like everyone in there is like pretty techie too. Yeah. So if you have like actual questions, that'd be great. I've even started to weave in. There's some people joining the group now that actually know traditional, like full-size arcades. So I had a question the other day about, Justin, I didn't do the video yet, but I'm hoping I can get it done before Sunday's show. Is I bought a full-size Street Fighter Champion Edition.
That's right.
And it's a different world, man. I mean, I'll admit I'm not an expert at CRTs and how to tune them and how to set them up, but I'm learning, and there's a lot of knowledge out there to be shared around. If you decide that you're going to buy a full-size arcade, it's a different beast. You got to be willing to, you could turn it on one day and something's not working right. And you just have to figure out what that is. So if you enjoy tinkering and you love the nostalgia of these, it's pretty cool to own one. But just know, if you have one that was in production on the floor, at an arcade for 10 plus years or 20 years, it's not going to be in the best condition ever. So you're going to have to expect that there's some things. Like, I replaced a lot of the micro switches already because it used great micro switches, but they were just sticking a little bit and stuff like that. But I find that stuff fun. But some people would rather take it out of the box in 45 minutes be playing. And I don't blame you for that. There's a lot to be said with, I just want to have fun and I don't want to tinker. But Justin and I think we get along real well because we like the tinkering aspects of things too. So.
Yeah, I realize that I'm missing a meeting, so I calculated things correctly. So I gotta go. Thank you very much. I gotta run upstairs and join this meeting. Try to make.
Right. Well, I'm gonna play us out then if you have to go.
Yep. See you, man.
All right. See you, dude. Okay. Well, Justin is gone. Thank God. Just kidding. Just kidding. He can still hear me, I think. Anyways, Justin is gone. We got to wrap it up anyway. I got to get back to work. This is a lot longer of a stream than I thought. And yeah, guys, I got to get out. I got to get out too. So let me look at the comments real quick. I wanted to be the last to super chat of the day. Thank you, Zohar. Was there one more that you wanted? I appreciate the super chat. But if you do have one more thing to say, this would be the time to say it because we're about to go. Wait, what is it? My knuckles disagree with replacing micro switches. Oh, what do you mean? Like, because your knuckles hurt when you do it? I don't get it. I'm confused about that comment. But yeah, so the Street Fighter Champion Edition I had picked up, it had cherry micro switches. I just replaced them with other cherry micro switches. Okay, so it's all good. Just love you. Be safe. That's what Zohar says. That's a really good way to finish it because I want everyone out there. I'm glad you guys joined these. Hopefully it's a little bit of a breakup of your day. So I got to leave it with what Zohar said. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you so much for joining and continuing to support the channel. I hope this breaks up your day, gives you something to look forward to. If I could do it every day, you know I would. So guys, that's it for now, and we will see you on the next one. Take care, guys.